Hello students, in this video we will see dynamic behavior of UML diagram. In dynamic behavior, it gets split into different types of diagrams. Here we'll see the sequence diagram first, followed by activity diagram. To start with how to draw and sequence diagram, we need a different notations. Here this slide shows different notations which we can use to draw a sequence diagram. So it starts with a first notation. We can call it as an object. Here in sequence diagram, we can represent a object with the help of rectangle, and inside that you can write a class name or object name. Here one example is shown as student is the name of the class and ABC is the name of an object. Next notation is a lifeline. The meaning of lifeline is for that particular object. So here ABC is the name of an object. So till what time the ABC object is alive is represented by a lifeline. Third notation is focus of control. As the object is alive, but for particular time period only, the object is trying to communicate with another object, that particular time you can call it as a focus of control. Fourth notation is an actor. Here we can represent a student as an actor, or we can also represent a student as an object using an rectangle. Communication between two objects is performed with the help of message passing. So the notation is a line followed with a solid arrow. On top of a line, we have to write it down which message you want to convey to another object. While performing a message passing in sequence diagram, it's get divided into different ways. The first one is synchronous message. The meaning of synchronous message is the object 1 is trying to get an reply or written message or acknowledgement from another object, suppose object 2. So in this case, the acknowledgement is mandatory if we are trying to use synchronous message. Another type of message is asynchronous message. Meaning of asynchronous message is here the object 1 is not waiting to get a reply message from object 2. When we are using synchronous communication or the synchronous message passing, the written message must get towards an initial object, and that we can represent with a dotted line followed with an arrow. When the object itself wants to perform the communication and wants to send a message to himself or the herself, the notation is a line followed with an arrow towards the focus of control. So these are the different notations which we can use to draw a sequence diagram. Here in this slide we'll see a basic example how to draw a sequence diagram. So object 1 and the object 2 we can represent with an rectangle. Dotted line represent a lifeline, lifespan of an object. A vertical rectangle represent focus of control. So now in this case, object 1 wants to talk with the object 2. For that, object 1 is trying to use synchronous message passing. For that, this notation is get used. Now, object 2 gets the information or gets the message from object 1, and as this is synchronous communication or the synchronous message passing, object 2 needs to send a reply message that we can represent with a dotted line. So now object 1 focus of control is done, but still object 1 is alive, and that we can represent using a lifeline. Now suppose the object 2 again wants to communicate with the object 1, and where the condition is just asynchronous communication. So in this case, the object 2 is trying to send a message to object 1 with a line followed with simple arrow, and the lifeline of object 2 is still alive. Likewise, we can represent two different objects and their communication with the help of sequence diagram. So sequence diagram is suitable to show how exactly two particular objects are trying to communicate with each other. So let's start with a basic example, that is nothing but order processing in a restaurant. So the problem statement is you need to show how exactly the order is get placed from a customer side for any particular restaurant. For that purpose, first we have to identify what are the different objects are needed here. So we are trying to communicate a customer with other type of objects. So first one object we have to represent as a customer, and what are the different objects are there in a restaurant, like a waiter, a cook and a cashier. Likewise, the four objects are created over here. Again, it's completely depends on a problem statement, how many number of objects you have to consider. So for this problem statement, the just four objects are considered. Now, customer is trying to communicate with a restaurant. For that purpose, first message it get passed as ask for a menu card. So that message is get towards a waiter. Now waiter is replying, just this is a menu card, you can take. So here you can see the focus of control, that is the communication has done from the waiter side. Now customer is looking towards the menu card. So because of that, a focus of control it's still alive from the customer side. Once customer has done with selection of an food, the customer is trying to place an order. So order the food. So that message is get towards a waiter side. Now here the customer don't want any kind of acknowledgement from a waiter once he has done with order processing. So because of that, asynchronous message is considered over here. That order intimation needs to give towards a cook side. So the waiter is trying to give a message to a cook that intimation of an order. So here the cook is coming to the picture, and because of that the focus of control is represented here as the cook is trying to prepare a food. Once he has done with that, the food is ready for an pickup. That message is get passed towards a waiter. So here again the waiter focus of control is get started. So once the waiter receive that information, waiter is trying to serve the food. So now customer is going to enjoy the food and finally perform the payment. So for this iteration, the role of the cashier come up, and that we can represent with a focus of control for a cashier object. Once the payment has done with, suppose the cashier wants to give any acknowledgement, you can use synchronous communication. Here we have considered just asynchronous communication. Customer don't want a receipt. Likewise, you can represent a sequence diagram for order processing in a restaurant. For more example of a sequence diagram, you can look towards the PPT shared in your mail. So now let's start with an activity diagram. So activity diagram initially we are trying to use to represent what are the different activities or the action performed by a problem statement. Here the activity diagram is going to use a different notations, like, so the first notation is start point, and that we can represent a circle which is filled one. Next notation is end point. So as there is a start point, we have to end the activity diagram with the help of end point, and that you need to represent a circle, and inside that a small circle which is filled one. Next notation is a decision, and that you can represent with the help of diamond. So this is a kind of a decision making, yes, no. If you want to proceed with that decision, you can represent with a diamond. Here the message passing or from one activity to another activity when the problem statement is moving, that we can represent with a transition, and the symbol is simply a line followed with an arrow. The important thing in activity diagram, how to represent the activity or the action performed by a problem statement, and that you can represent with this symbol. So this is the symbol to show the activity for a problem statement. When a message or a transition is moving from one activity to another activity, while moving that, if you want to give any condition, that we can call it as an guard condition. Next notation is a fork and join. Here, the meaning of fork and join is when a two activity wants to split and need to execute parallelly, that you can represent with this notation. And the same activity when you want to join, once you are done with your execution, that we can represent with the help of join. So that is nothing but just split and the return. The most important part of an activity diagram is a swim lane. So the meaning of swim lane is for the workflow modeling we can use it. So the meaning of workflow modeling is, here we are trying to collect the activities performed by a single class or the single object. So the swim lane is a similar kind of activity collection we can perform. Or else we can partition the different activities with different objects or with different classes. So let's start with an example. The same example, that is the order processing in a restaurant. For that, here we have used the swim lanes. So the notation for a swim lane is, you can partition different classes. So here we have considered the first class as a customer, another one is the order, and the third one is the payment. So again, this is completely depends on your problem statement, which classes you have to consider over here in an activity diagram. So now let's start with the execution of an customer. So to start with your activity diagram, we have to use a start point, and the notation is a filled circle. So this notation is get used. So now from start point to an activity, the action or the transition is moving. So we can call it as an activity with the name place the order. So once the customer has done with the placing an order, so that activity is moving towards another swim lane with the name order processing. Here actually a processing of an order from the waiter side and the preparing of an order from the cook side is going to perform. And because of that, we are trying to use a fork and join over here. So parallelly processing of an order and the preparing of an order has done. So for that we are trying to use fork. Once these two activity has done with their work, we have to join, we have to return from that activities. For that purpose, here the join is get used. Once two activities done with their execution, we need to collect their output. So here we are considering an activity as a ready to pick up. So that activity is moving towards again the customer side, and now actually the waiter is trying to serve the food. So here we can use the decision as, if the customer likes the food, the customer is going to perform the payment. If the customer doesn't like it, then need to move towards another activity. So let's start with the first condition. So here this is an guard condition where the customer likes the food and needs to move towards a payment part. So for that purpose, the third swim lane, that is nothing but payment, come into the picture. Once the customer has done with the payment, need to end the activity diagram. Another condition is, or the another part of an condition is, if the customer doesn't like the food, directly the customer can end the point. So this is all about an activity diagram for order processing in a restaurant. For more example on an activity diagram, please do check the PPT shared in your mail. So these are the different references we have used while preparing the slides. And the important instruction is, while coming, please do understand all the diagrams, and for your batch, whatever the problem statement is assigned during a practical sessions, try to draw these diagrams on paper, and if possible try to draw it on draw.io tool. Thank you, students.